and Stanley counties. This is the tornado warned storm just south of Ansonville. I want you to notice that big cluster of lightning there. This means this storm is getting fairly tall in the atmosphere, and we've also got that distinct hook. Now, the kind of pink or purple polygon, that's where it's going. I'm going to go over to the first warned Doppler radar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick storm track on this storm to show you where it's going, because it is tracking to the north and east, and right now the speed of this appears to be about 30 miles an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a storm track right at 30 miles an hour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to track the circulation center off in this direction, and I'll bring down our cities there. So you can see Ansonville, 7 o'clock, Mount Gilead, 7:19. Covington, if it holds together this long, 7:27, and then Ellerbe, which is in northern parts of Richmond County, there just north of Rockingham, that would be right around the 7:30ish, and then Norman eventually around 7:34, 7:42. What I'm going to do is to switch over to the velocity data, and you can see we've got a very distinct couplet here. And what I'm going to do is I'll come back over to the wall and I'll kind of show you what we're talking about. You see that little hook there? What you're looking at here is the winds are wrapping around this side, and the greens are going towards the radar. So you see the towards winds, the radar's way off this side of your screen. So the winds here are going this way, these winds are going away, and so you can see right there is our circulation, that little, what we sometimes call hook echo. If you ever heard that term, that's why we call it that. And right there, that tornado warning is over central Anson County. So if you have friends or family or anybody in this vicinity, please tell them to get to shelter right now. There's a lot of kids out trick-or-treating. This is exactly the kind of thing I was hoping we would avoid tonight, because people are away from their TVs. Let them know, text them, call them, say, hey, I know you're not watching TV, maybe you don't have an app. There is a tornado possibly on the ground in parts of Anson County. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to a couple of different radars here. So bear with me as I'm switching between different radar sources. What I'm looking for here is to see if we've got any kind of debris signature. One of the things about Doppler radar that makes it so appealing to use is that we can actually detect debris. So I'm going to go in real closely here. So this is a 52, Highway 52, which goes between Ansonville and Pinkston, just east of Polkton. This is 218, which comes down to Polkton there in the part of Anson County. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a track on the circulation. So if you see your town there, or you know somebody in this town, Magnum, that is in the path of this possible tornado. And again, this is the tornado warning that we're keeping an eye on right now in Anson County. I'm going to widen this out just to show you in respect to Charlotte. This is a storm that just came through Union County. It actually just exited northeastern Union County, very close to Marshville. And so it's moving north of the Wadesboro area, but this is really in that vicinity of right around the Ansonville, Wadesboro area. 52 runs between that. I've actually driven that road quite a few times. And I'm going to go in a little closer and kind of show you some of the roads here. So let's go in real close here. You see Sugartown right there. There's, I believe that's 742. Ooh, that was zoomed back out. But you see those lightning strikes. I'm actually going to take the lightning strikes off of there so they don't become distracting here. And we'll save this again. But you could see that storm right there. That's the couplet that we're tracking, and it's moving up towards Mount Gilead. So this is kind of clipping the northern sections of Anson County, northwestern sections of Richmond County. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to talk back and forth with some of the folks with the Weather Service as I see another warning coming out for another part of the state. So we're getting a lot of warnings up in the Greensboro area. So if you hear in the background, those are the other warnings you're hearing. But these are the line of storms that just came through the Charlotte area and parts of Union County. It's literally just exited Union County and is now moving into Anson County. So it looks basically like it crossed the Union County line and started to spin as it moved into Anson County. So there's a look at the storm track. If you know friends or family, and you know, if they're out with the kids or they're just getting home from work, or they're not paying attention to what's going on, please call them. This is a chance for you to reach out to them and let them know, hey, there's a tornado possibly on the ground here in northern Anson County, and it's moving north and east. So down towards Wadesboro, this is going to stay to your north. You're going to be okay down there. Ansonville, this is going to be way too close. You need to be in a shelter location. Remember, get to the middle of your home, most interior section of your house. Put as many walls between you and the outside. You want to protect yourself from debris. That's what we're trying to do. The wind isn't the thing that's going to hurt you. It's going to be the debris that gets picked up and thrown at you. So if you have helmets, the kids have bike helmets, skateboard helmets, football helmets, hard hats, anything. Protect your head. That's the number one thing we want to protect as this moves towards areas like Mount Gilead, Covington, Peking, Chapels Mill, and eventually Norman, which is up there just crossing the border there as you go out of Richmond County. So again, I'll go over to the radar one time as we take another look at that, what we call velocity couplet, what we're looking for to see if we see any of that shear. And again, pretty distinct right there, just on Highway 52, right in this vicinity, in the middle of your screen, is where we're seeing that couplet showing up. Right there, and it looks like it's about to move north and clip that northern section. So Ansonville, just south of you. There's the updated radar scan, and I'll put a track on this. We'll do it real close. So Magnum is a town that keeps popping up again and again. That is in the path of the circulation. I'm not tracking the rain or the heavy wind. We're just tracking the circulation in this, and that's what you're seeing on first warn Doppler radar as I widen this out a little bit. And we'll go back to the circulation here in a minute. So let me go back to this. And again, there's a look at the storm. So again, if you're just tuning in, if you're just getting back in, maybe the kids, you're out trick-or-treating with them, this is the line of storms that went through the Charlotte area. It's now producing a tornado warning for parts of Anson County. And really, Montgomery County, this is the county up here. Richmond County's here, and it's just barely clipping parts of Stanley County. So when you see the counties up there, it's only the area in the polygon that we're really tracking. This has actually left the western part of the county, and it's crossing 52, Highway 52. It's going to cross over here. So this is the border going into that northwestern corner of Richmond County, and this is the southern section right here of Montgomery County. So Norwood, Ansonville, Wadesboro, that kind of vicinity right in there. That's what we're tracking. Ellerby is right here and Norman is right here. Rockingham, you're in the clear. You're going to be fine. This is going to pass to your north. Now, we've got to keep an eye on the other storms that are to the southwest of you, but you should be okay as this passes to your north. This is actually going to move closer to areas of Montgomery County as it moves into parts of the Sandhills. Now, this line of storms was a strong line that came through the Charlotte area about 25 to 30 minutes ago. I'm going to widen it back out here, kind of show you the overall perspective. This is where we are in relation to the Charlotte area, just so you know where we are. And there's also a couple more tornado warnings up north of the Greensboro area. So this is not the only line of tornadoes that we've seen. Remember, that tornado watch was up till 11 o'clock. They did cancel a lot of the counties back to the west, but we have started to see some warnings being issued as the line is pushed off to the east. So I'm checking with the spotters out in that area, and what we're seeing mostly is this is a Doppler radar indicator. I have not seen any ground truth or any spotters reporting this right now. So if you live in this area, just seek shelter. Do not try to go outside and get a picture of this. We don't want you to do that. We've got trained spotters that will do that for us. Please get to a safe shelter location. So Ansonville, this is passing just to your south. And again, what I'm going to do is kind of show you the circulation right here. This is where the circulation is on your map. So that little couplet and what's going on here, if I can grab my telestrator, I'll kind of show you. We've got winds coming in like this, and then the winds are hooking in like this. This is what creates that hook echo. So right in there, we're seeing that circulation, and this is just to the south of the Ansonville area. Now, the warning is set to go to 7:15, and this is actually going to pass just over that northwest tip. And it's kind of interesting to see how close this is to almost missing Richmond County. But Richmond County's got this little appendage here that sticks out. So as it moves off in this direction, it's going to cross over that part of the county. So let me put another storm track. I'll put it out a little bit farther this time because the potential is here that this is going to keep going. So it heads up into areas of Montgomery County to the north and east. So we'll move this back out here in a second, and I'll show you the warning again. So there's the warning, the polygon. And again, if you're just tuning in, maybe you just stepped inside, tornado warning in effect for parts of Anson County moving into northern Richmond County. I'm not seeing any reports of anything on the ground right now. We're not getting any reports from any of our spotters in the area. That's what I'm doing right now, checking with them to make sure that we don't have any reports of spotters seeing anything on the ground in that vicinity. But if you live in this area, you live in a mobile home, even if you're in a mobile home, please try to get to the interior of your mobile home if you can. If you can go to a neighbor's house, get to an interior room away from those outside walls and windows, you can do that as well. That would even in a mobile home, that's going to help get you to a safer location. We want to put as many walls between you and the outside. Protect yourself, basically put force fields between you and all that debris that could be flying around. If you're in a vehicle, if you know somebody's in a vehicle, tell them to get to a sturdy structure. Make sure they can get to something like a gas station, maybe even a grocery store. Those are always great locations to get in and get to that middle section of the house. Now, luckily, we're in an area that's not densely populated, but we do have quite a few farms out here, quite a few small towns, as this line is moving towards areas like around 75 and heading up here towards X-Way as it moves just south of Mount Gilead. So Mount Gilead right there, this is going to pass probably just to your south. I'm going to loop this just one time to show you kind of the speed of this thing. We'll push this out in this general direction. And again, this is the latest storm track. So just to give you an idea of the movement of this storm and the towns that are in the path, that it's moving about 30 miles an hour. So at that speed, it's going to be over Magnum. And really, that's a town that every time I've done a storm track, has been right in the center of the cone. And just looking at the reflectivity here, it's showing a very distinct hook echo. That little curvature right there. So we're tracking that as it's pushing off to the north and east. So Covington's right there, Peking right there. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's a town just outside of our viewing area as you go up into areas of Montgomery County. So we're crossing into Montgomery County. So up here is Stanley County. This is Anson County. This little area is Richmond County, and this is Montgomery County. Troy is up that way a little bit as you move into Montgomery County. So again, tornado warning for Anson, Montgomery, Richmond, and Stanley. Stanley, you're kind of out of the woods because it's going to pass just to your southeast. And Richmond, it's really just that northwest corner. So when you see those counties labeled like that, it's because part of the county is being impacted, and it's really this vicinity. If we could just narrow it down, those are the areas most at threat. And the reason we have to cut into programming like this is because our signal goes out to everybody equally. So those people in this area will get this warning, and you might be listening outside of this area that's warned. We understand that as well, but you might be able to contact somebody that lives in this area, give them a heads up that that storm is pushing off to the north and the east. So I'm going to come back over here, and James, you seen anything online? Any reports of anything?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to see if we're getting any spotter reports, any sheriff reports, anything. The only report I got is still the radar indication of the tornado warning capable of producing a tornado. It's about 7 miles east of Ansonville, exactly where we're tracking it, and about 12 miles northeast of Wadesboro. It's moving northeast at 50, so they've actually upped the speed a little bit. That's interesting. When I first started tracking this, it was moving about 30. So this thing is really picking up some speed. It's about to move out of our viewing area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the speed on our storm track, and we're going to track this now at 50 miles an hour as it goes into Montgomery County. So that's an updated storm track based on the new forward speed that we just got from the National Weather Service. Looking at the signature, I'm going to flip over to this and see. Doesn't look quite as strong as it did earlier. And that's the problem with some of these type of storms, is that we don't get really strong signatures in these what we call low cape, high shear type of events. And that's what we saw today, which means we had a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere, but we did not have a lot of instability. Though out east, honestly, there was quite a bit of instability out this way. So this is probably why we're seeing these storms spin up a little bit better off to the east. So we're going to stay on this until it crosses out of our viewing area, until the warning is canceled, which is set to expire at about 7:15. You can see the top of your screen there. 7:02 currently. The warning is set to expire at 7:15 for northern Anson County. It's just about to move out of Anson County. The circulation itself is in this little section right here of northwestern Richmond County, about to cross into southern Montgomery County. Stanley County, you're completely out of the woods here, so we can take Stanley out of there, and the Weather Service will whittle down the back edge of this as this pushes off to the north and east. As you know, today we had all the ingredients for tornadoes. That's why we have a tornado watch in effect until 11 o'clock this evening, though it's likely going to be canceled early because once this line pushes off to the east, we're actually going to get into some more stable, more favorable conditions for just calmer conditions moving in on the backside. So don't expect this watch to stay up till 11, and even this warning might expire early as we're now sitting at about 7:03 here with expiration time set for 7:15. The one thing I will notice about this storm, it has been a prolific lightning storm. We have not seen a lot of lightning today. We've seen very few strikes, but I'm going to quickly just tally the lightning strikes here. 106 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes in this little storm. And why that is important, when we get lightning, we know the storm is getting very tall. It's got a very strong updraft. It's able to tap into some cold air aloft, and you're getting ice inside the storm. When that happens, we know that we have a tall storm. And sometimes the taller the storm, it's able to tap into more wind shear, which allows the whole thing to rotate. So again, tornado warning for Anson, Montgomery, Richmond. And really, I'd take Stanley out of this because Stanley's not even really going to be affected by the circulation as it pushes off to the east at about northeast, I should say, at about 50 miles an hour. The circulation right now is crossing Highway 104. I believe that's 104 right there. It looks like 109, excuse me. It's very small print. And then heading towards Highway 73 up to the northeast, and that's going to cross right into southern part of Montgomery County. And if you're in this area, you know Mount Gilead's right there. Magnum is right where the storm is right now. We've been giving you a warning of Magnum for seems like about 5 to 10 minutes now. So if you're in that area, hopefully you're in shelter, you're just listening, or you're streaming us on the WCNC app right now. That storm's going to pass. Stay in your shelter location. Do not move until that storm moves out of there. It's going to cross over 73 here, or as it moves up to the northeast, and then it's going to head towards southern parts of Montgomery County towards 731, which is east of Mount Gilead, heading out towards the Harrisville area as it crosses into parts of the Sandhills. So again, really strong winds. Mount Gilead, you're on the backside of this rear flank downdraft, really strong winds coming out of the backside. You're likely going to see some damaging winds here, so be very careful in that area. Even though the tornado is going to pass to your south, this is going to travel up to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. Every time I see the scan come by, though, it doesn't seem like it's moving nearly that quickly. And again, the environment east of us today was much more favorable because we had a lot more sunshine out in this area. So you could see the wider view. I'm just going to show you what this is in relation to, how it's moving pretty far east of the Charlotte area right now. That circulation is actually north of Wadesboro. What was a little scary was that circulation just moved through Union County right around rush hour and didn't show strong signs of rotation, but when it got east into that air that was a little bit more favorable, it started spinning a lot more a lot more rapidly as it was pushing off to the east. So again, tornado warning currently in effect for Anson, Richmond, and Montgomery County, Stanley County. I'm just going to go ahead and remove you out of there because we've already exited that region. We're going to look at the velocity data pretty much shows this thing is not rotating anymore, but let's take a different look at a couple different. I'm just seeing if they're going to cancel this warning early. I'm going to look at a different radar site here real quickly to give you a different perspective. So this is the radar out of Raleigh. So this is about the closest radar we have to this location. I'm going to turn off the lightning because we don't need to see that. And there's still a broad circulation right here, just to the north of Ingram. And that's pushing to the northeast. So that is pushing to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. That storm is going to continue to weaken, it looks like, though, as it moves closer to the radar because it doesn't show the same signature that we had earlier. And again, what we're looking at is we want to see winds going away from the radar. We've got strong winds towards the radar, but these are all pretty strong. We don't have a really strong signature coming back this way. So this is a real indication of some strong straight line winds. And if I look at the terminal Doppler, it shows a lot of straight line winds as well. So there's not a lot of indication that circulation is still there. They may let this just expire. They may have already just decided to cancel it. So I'm going to see what they're going to do with this thing because it looks to me that that warning is probably about to expire. And since we're so close to 7:15, I think they're likely going to let that go instead of canceling it early. But again, that tornado spun up quickly, at least on radar. This was only radar indicated so far. We have not gotten any ground truth or confirmed spotter reports of this as it moved just to the north of Wadesboro. It did have a very tight circulation for a short period of time. And actually, this storm showed signs of broad circulation as it was back to the west. But as it's been pushing to the northeast, it's been showing signs of weakening. I'm going to keep an eye on this storm as it continues to push to the east. But right now, I think that tornado threat has diminished. Just stay in your shelter location, though, until these storms pass, because there are some strong winds as well as a lot of lightning. You can see the lightning on there as well. And if we get any warnings or any more severe thunderstorm warnings, we'll crawl those on the screen. If we get another tornado warning, we'll cut back into program. And of course, you can get our updates at WCNC.com and on our app. We're going to return to your programming, though, already underway.
Put Mount Marcy, highest of the Adirondacks. Miriam.
What is New York?
Good.
Daily double for 1,000.
Hydrogen bonds hold together the strands of this molecular structure discovered in 1953. Miriam.
What is